Ladies and gentlemen, we just want to welcome you to the Houston and Sean podcast.
No, we don't. That's you. You're the one that wants to welcome everybody. I'm not welcoming anyone. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Today is episode number 13. Somewhat unlucky if it's Friday too. And today we are talking about a dysfunctional subject for most people, including us. We're talking about family.
Yeah. Family. You know what I mean? Family. You all got one. Families are the nucleus of every good, solid community.
The nucleus. So tell us about your family, Houston.
Do we start with the great grandparents, or should I just start with my parents and everyone else?
Yeah, just your parents and your cousins.
And
your aunts and uncles.
So I have hold on, give me 1 second. So my mom and my dad divorced when I was 3. My dad was a successful artist. My mom worked for artists. And they divorced when I was a wee lad, when I was 3 years old, and I didn't know nothing. I couldn't spell no words. I couldn't count no numbers. I couldn't even pee or poop unless I had a diaper on. So I don't know when I stopped anyways, I'm going on a tangent. So I was an only child. My mom raised me. I didn't have any.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
I don't think you couldn't pee or poop without a diaper. It just was less messy. Would you say that's?
Yeah, and I don't know. I was just trying to be funny. I think I was 2 when I stopped wearing, or no, I guess I was 4 when I was potty trained. I don't remember. I was just trying to
a late bloomer.
Mm-hmm. Same with wetting the bed. I was also a very late bloomer with that.
When was the last time you wet your bed?
I did it one time when I was 12. And but I hadn't done it since I was like 5 or 6 before that. And one time when I was 12, I peed the bed, and I don't know what was going on. I don't know. It was really weird.
Well, it's hard when the dream fakes you out. It's like you walk up to the toilet. That's the toilet. It's right there. You take a whiz and you're in your bed. All of a sudden you're in your bed. It's like, dang it, my brain tricked me.
Sounds like this happened to you recently, Sean.
No, but
anyways, we're getting way off topic.
I do try to drink water before bed, so I do get up in the middle of the night and pee. It's pretty much habitual. At some point
I get up 5 times a night. I pee a lot.
I get one time, let it out, come back. But that one time I like wake up and I'm like, dang, I have to pee really, really bad, you know?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Huh? Oh.
Sorry.
What was I don't even remember what I was saying. That was like 5 conversations ago. We got off in that tangent about pee and let me just back up. Let me back up a little bit. So I have so yeah, I didn't have brothers and sisters. My dad had a daughter, so I have a half sister, but I didn't grow up with her. So I had all these cousins that were like my brothers and sisters, and I used to annoy the shit out of them. And because I didn't have a brother and I always wanted a little brother, and I never got one. And so I would just annoy them.
Just too lazy. Lazy to get.
Whenever I was around my cousins, I couldn't handle it, and I would just be annoying. And so that's my cousins were always very close. My family's very close, uncles, cousins. And you're talking about Catherine. Yeah, that's Catherine, and her brother's Chris. And I don't know, what else should I talk about as far as my family?
Talk about Matt for sure.
Matt.
So Matt could play he could play Van Halen's Eruption, but in the complete dark. He was very talented and
He
he was
was a
very smart
yes,
at
he was
growing
very
up as a teen.
quiet and grumpy. Um, very grumpy.
Surly.
Yeah, surly. Surly. That was my favorite word. But yeah, he was an amazing guitarist for many years. And Matt and I were very close when we were teenagers into our early 20s. He was like one of my best pals, along with you, Sean. And
I had to fight for your affection over Matt too.
now,
Not
yeah,
only Dave, not only
I
Dave, but also Matt.
I didn't see Matt as often as I saw you because he lived in Media, which is like a half hour away, and there were always like things happening with him, and I wouldn't see
That's
him
true.
for a while, and I'd be like, okay. But yeah, Matt was the first person that I ever got drunk with, and he was the first person that I ever smoked weed with. Not that that means anything, but Matt was like, we were the same age, but he was 2 months older, but he was always 5 years more advanced than I was. Like I was still a kid,
In troublemaking. Yeah.
troublemaking, and just like he had a girlfriend way before I did,
Mm.
and you know, I was watching Nickelodeon when he was already watching like MTV. You know what I mean? Like he was always more advanced. He was cooler than I was, and I was secretly jealous of him. And I think 90% of the fist fights I've been in my entire life have been with my cousin Matt.
Yeah.
We used to fight each
Probably
other all the time.
5 and 5, 5 and 5 for Dave and I for the other 10%.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, we used to fight a lot. Um and then in our early 20s we didn't really fight. But we used to hang out a lot in Media, and I think I stayed at his apartment for a while at one point. A lot of, you know, drinking in those
And
days.
he's a chef
Yeah,
now.
he stopped playing guitar. I don't know why. He did that for years, and he just switched his interest into cooking, and he's worked at all these different restaurants. So he's a really good chef. And him and I used to hang out at his place and stay up till like 4 in the morning, and he'd be like cooking something for like 5 hours. And we wouldn't get to eat till like 4 in the morning, and we'd stay up and we'd be all half drunk and everything. And he'd cook like some weird steak dish with like peppers and all this stuff on it. And it was always amazing. But it was like 4 in the morning. It was like, come on,
Yeah,
man. I don't want to stay
yeah,
up till 4 in the morning to eat something.
I'm not hungry. I'm
I'm not
sleepy.
hungry. I'm tired.
And then falling asleep on anyway. Yeah, okay.
Falling
So
asleep on a full stomach. You sound
it's
like you were
not
going to get into a rant. Is that what?
not the healthiest.
So Sean and I have been wanting to do a health and fitness podcast for a while.
The issue, folks, is that every time I actually want to do it, Houston doesn't. He's like,
I don't
no,
want to do it. And then afterwards, I'll want to do it. And Sean will be like, yeah, no, let's do this instead. So coming anyway, but we're talking about family tonight. So we'll get on with that.
So I guess I should talk about my family some. My family is not close. We're not close people. My and I would say my mom and dad, their sides of the family are very different, you know.
In what
My
way?
mom my mom's side, I would say, is almost defined by intellect, which being born a completely average kid, it was kind of difficult, especially because I was at the end of the train. I was the caboose of the family, you know, and they were all freaking smart. And it was just like, here's me. Like, I just was not exceptional in any way. Like,
I
I
always thought
struggled.
that you got really good grades though in high school, didn't you?
I guess I
I
felt
always
like I
thought you
was
were really smart.
thank you. I'm
Like,
gonna write. Yeah, can we notarize like you saying that? Like we
no,
could
like I did terrible in high school because I just didn't care. And Sean was, oh, weren't you getting like straight A's at one point?
maybe I'm not sure. Well, but I do know, you know, in terms of the kids in the family, right? So there was
Hmm.
like my first cousin, the oldest cousin, his name is Bruce, absurdly smart, right? So he aced the SAT in math, so they put him in the second one, and then he aced that. He went up to visit like Harvard because I guess that was his dream, and he walked out thinking it sucked. He walked across the street to MIT and loved the crap out of it. He then went, got a math and science degree there, left to do like to fart around Boston, really not knowing what to do, and then decided eventually like computer science was where it was at. Went back to MIT, got like a master's in computer science, then went to Silicon Valley in California. At that point, that guy worked in some underground company, I think, for a little while. But then when Google was rising in its success, right, becoming like just kind of starting to take over, uh, he hopped on the Google train. So this was like, I think probably like 16 years ago at this point. But so for 16 years he's been at Google, but not only Google, right? Sometimes they shift him to YouTube and then they'll shift him back to Google. But I have no idea what he does because he won't say. But I do imagine it has to do with like breaking code and crap
Well,
like that.
you said he works at YouTube, get him to like, boost up some, get our podcast, out there and you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But he's just not.
He's
He's not
probably like,
that.
I don't even do that stuff at YouTube.
He would say something like along the lines of, "I'm legally not allowed to do that," and I'll be like,
Exactly. It's
"I mean, like that was a joke, Bruce." But so that was Bruce, right? Intelligent, I guess, you know. And then we all sort of had to follow Bruce. And for the cousins that came after Bruce, especially around that time, a lot of them just like also incredibly intelligent people, you know, especially I think the second one was my cousin Erin, and she was very, very smart. And then Bruce had a brother, Mark. He did great as a doctor, but even then it's like, oh, you're just a doctor. It's like when you're criticizing somebody's intellect because all they could do was become like an anesthesiologist. First of all,
that's
that
crazy.
guy make that guy makes bank, you know, and is gonna retire completely happy. Everybody should be impressed, you know.
Yeah,
But
any family would be impressed with that, with an
right,
anesthesiologist.
but it's just a normal, like to us, it's like, oh, he just fell into the normal group, you know. Anyway, when I came along in the caboose, like even straight A's, like in like a public school in Delaware, did not float to the top of my family, right?
Yeah, I guess in Delaware, like getting straight A's is like, it's not, it's like,
Yeah, it's mainly just a testament that the teachers have to pass a lot of kids,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But
But Houston
so
was not one of them.
so my dad's family is totally different, right? So probably the most notable thing about my dad's family is they are lawyers. But uh okay, so I want to go for just a second, go to my great grandfather, right? He fought in the Scopes trials. He, I guess, was not the prominent lawyer that was fighting against against the religion, like to be allowed to teach evolution in school, but he was on the team. So he's never the guy they show in movies and crap, but he was right there. He was in the courtroom and everything like that. So that was his most notable case, but that guy did all sorts of stuff. Um, and then when my grandfather got to know his daughter and kind of like slip into that society of lawyers, like it was my grandfather's like into success. You know, my grandfather was very street smart. He wasn't super like intellectual or anything. He just knew what he wanted and he was an asshole to get it, you know. He didn't care about lying. He was kind of just a jerk in many ways to his family. And not always like he was very charismatic to people, so people liked him. But when it came down to like how do you treat your family, they all just had to tolerate him for years and years and years and years. And I fear that I got some of my grandfather like in me, and I sort of have to fight that beast, you know? But my grandfather made a lot of money doing it, like millions of dollars, right? So but my dad is like the counter. He just became the opposite of his dad. So how some sons, if they get hit, they grow up and they hit. That was not the case. He got smacked around. He did not, he never was that man. He was just a benevolent, like dandelion of a man. Like I feel like just like a very peaceful, loving dude. Very quiet. It's hard to find conversation. A lot of the times he's totally uninterested in talking to you, and you have to like work. And if you're not going to work, he's not going to work. So you guys can just kind of be silent together there.
I
But
see. I see.
so that's my dad. So he's a very nice man, but he's
Yeah,
definitely
Sean's
not the lawyer type.
Sean, and again, I think we already told the story about your dad. The only I've only seen your dad get angry like a few times, and we talked about like the movie theater thing
Oh
that
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
But
I guess he had pop in him, but that beast was hard to get to. It was like in
yes,
a it was like in a treasure chest that was locked. And then it was like there were like, chains around the treasure chest, and it was like packed in down, down, down. And
and
then
one
if you poke him hard enough, he's just like
it had to be really hard. I remember one time we were at your house, and I think we wanted to stay out in the living room and like watch TV all night, and your dad wasn't going to let us or something. I don't remember, but you had a tape recorder, and Sean and I would record like rap albums on a tape recorder.
See,
We
this is
record
genius. My
yes.
cousins are not genius. That is genius.
Yeah, so and we do skits. And so I guess since Sean's dad wasn't gonna let we want you wanted no, you know what it was? You wanted him to move a TV into another room and he wasn't gonna
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. Such a stupid thing.
Yeah,
For me,
why did
like
we have to
so
have the TV moved?
yeah, and I think you were trying to convince me of that too, if I remember right. It's
Yeah, I was
like we don't
probably
need
egging you on, like, and then I don't know whose
yeah.
idea it was, but Sean's dad went to sleep, and Sean and I thought it would be funny to record ourselves on the tape recorder complaining about his dad not moving the TV. And it's just a tape recording of us. Probably, I haven't heard it since then, but in high pitched voices, probably. And
I
we're like,
was
I can't believe your dad won't let us move the TV. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know. It's so stupid. And then we took the tape recording and left it by his doorway while he was trying to sleep. And he kind of busted out and he got really mad for like 1 second. And then he was like, ah, I told you guys to stop. But that was really annoying. And we did it like twice that night. Like, I just thought that was a funny story about your dad.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay, so back to your family. Let's talk about Dolly. What is your mom like?
no, oh God. Um, my mom was a little bit crazy. She told there's a million stories about my mom, but there's a great story about how she was. I don't know if she wants me to tell that story. Never mind. There's a lot of those stories. How would you describe her?
She was the model. I mean, you have to kind of start there, right? Because she, I think, because of because of being because of beauty and being a woman, I think, to some extent got special privileges like in society. Would you say? Like she got to kind of elevate herself with it a little bit, like
I
to
was at
high society.
yeah, I was at a bar with my mom once in Philly with my whole family was there, and I forget what it was for, but we were all in Philly, and one of the girls working at the bar handed over a drink to my mom and gave her a free drink because she said she was the most beautiful woman in the bar. And she was
Oh,
older by that point. I thought that was a
yeah.
like crazy. My mom got away with a lot, yes, because of I don't
Yeah,
know.
of her look. Yeah, her looks. And you'd see when you go to Houston's house, you saw pictures of Dolly like in her 20s and 30s, and she really was beautiful. She was.
I always say I got my good looks from my mom.
And I am not gonna go on a homosexual rant here, but you know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you this. I showed a picture to a coworker of you on my phone, and I said, he's good looking, right? And it made us both extremely uncomfortable. The blood rushed into my ears. It had to, slowly drain out of my ears.
Because
I was
you
like,
said
man,
that?
yeah, I
Because
felt like I was like, I'm not gay, it's just, like you even as a guy, you have to do empirical stuff. Like, is the person symmetrical? There's biological reasons why somebody is attractive. Does the person have tan skin? For guys, the dark hair, for whatever reason, we needed dark hair back then. It's like maybe it
listen,
camouflaged
I have
better.
no problem saying a guy's good looking, but like, yeah, I'm comfortable with, I'll be like, yeah, he's a good looking guy. I'm not worried about people, thinking,
Exactly. It's like to
doesn't
have
mean
that confidence.
anything.
To have that confidence. It's just that she was feeling awkward, so all of a sudden I was too. It's like confidence gone,
I
blood
don't like
rushing to
this.
the ear.
I don't like this story. I thought you were going to tell me she saw the picture and was like, "Oh my God, that's the hottest guy ever." And instead, it was just an awkward experience. That's
Yeah,
not where I
that's
wanted the story to go.
all it was, all it was, all it was. Yeah, actually, like we were at dinner as coworkers, and she was saying, my grandfather, first he was totally normal. He came out as a handsome guy, and she was sort of like using me with her hands as like the example. And I was like, that's the nicest thing that's ever happened.
In your entire life.
Yeah, but of course, the problem is that when she was born that year, I was going to college and I was trying to hide my beer. It's just weird to me, that it's become that for me, is
Mhm.
that my coworker was born when I was going off to college.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you're old.
Yeah, I'm old. It's not that she's young, it's that
We
I'm
got to you
old.
get we're not old. We're not old yet. We're not even close to being old yet. We're just not
Well,
like, listen, man, I don't miss my 20s at all. You know what I'm saying?
mm, it's true. Yeah, I was an idiot in my 20s. Maybe if I wasn't an idiot in my 20s, I'd have a better decade there. And I feel like, yeah, like 40s has got to be the new 20s because I still need it. I still need to have a decade of like a good decade. you know. Yeah, 40s is rapidly approaching.
Yeah. What yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. So back to family.
Me? What
All right,
what
let's do
what were we talking about?
with the family.
Yeah,
Did
we're
it?
talking
Let's
about Dolly, right? My mom.
Yeah. Who else can we talk about? Chris. You had
Uh
dinner with you had dinner with Chris today. How was that?
it was good.
What
Not
did you
much
eat?
happened. Uh,
Ah,
burgers.
okay, that's pretty boring. Yeah. What kind of where did you get the burgers? What burger place?
Well, it was from a place close by. Um oh, what's the place called? Not Hank's because Hank's restaurant closed. I didn't remember. I didn't pick up the burgers.
I think I remember meeting you there. Maybe I met you there
At Hank's?
once or somewhere. I met you at a burger place right near Dolly's house once.
Yeah, it was probably Hank's.
And then we went to Hooters once. That's like near the McDonald's and movie theater around there.
there we went to the Hooters, and next to Hooters there was a place called Firewaters, and that's where I used to get my beer all the time. But we went to that Hooters when we were that wasn't that long ago, was it? God, when
No,
was it?
I don't know. Bro, that was a long time ago.
Was it a
Didn't
long
you eat
time ago?
like a whole basket of the hottest, like
Probably. I would do something stupid like that.
my, the thing with Hooters is like, I think if you're at a restaurant, you can kind of flirt with the waitress to try to get them in a Hooters like state. But it's like once you're in Hooters, it's like they're already in that state. You have no goal. There's no objective.
Yeah, it's like
It's like
did you
you know
who people go to Hooters and flirt. It's like, really? I mean, like,
yeah,
what do you think's gonna happen?
yeah. Like to get hired to work at Hooters, they're like, "Are you willing to flirt?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, of course." You know, you
I
can't you
just
can't like you can't like identify somebody that genuinely wants to flirt with you because they're all going to flirt with you no matter what.
exactly. Well, that's that you could say the same about, a lot of
All that stuff.
professions. um, yeah, they're getting paid to flirt with you. It's like you're not special, all right? You think you're special, but you're just not. What really separates humans from dogs? You know what it is? It's just opposable thumbs. That's all it is, man.
That's crazy. I watched The Theory of Everything. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Describe it
You
to
s-
me.
Well, it's the story of Stephen Hawking.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
I think
I
it's
was
on
thinking of something
Netflix.
completely different. No.
Anyway, in the
The one I
movie,
was thinking of had lasers in it.
well, Stephen Hawking's had lasers in it, like
Did it?
surgery and stuff.
Did he shoot lasers?
out of his out of
I,
his eyes because he's not gonna
I was gonna do an impression, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm
do it.
no, that's no, we'll get no, that'll get us in trouble.
Okay, yeah, don't do it. Don't get
Thank
us
you.
in trouble.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for not. Oh, I want to then, but I won't. But I won't.
Don't get us in trouble.
I will do it. I'll do it for you after the podcast.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right. And then let's recap. We have been doing some battle raps over the phone over our phone. We have. And then I just want to show the audience one of them. Can I show them one of them from you?
Oh, one from
Uh,
May? Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's show them yours. Let me find it real quick. 1 second. 1 second.
1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second.
It was a little while
One
ago.
second. 1 second.
Oh, here it is.
1 second.
Just a second.
Just a second.
I don't like the mannerism of your brain aneurysm. Standing in a prism of a prison.
Is
Is
that it?
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
You can actually see it sounds simple, but I'm actually saying a lot in those lines. Like, a prism, like, have you ever been like stuck in a prism? And then, but it sounds like a prison, but like you can also get stuck in a prison.
It's where naughty rainbows go when they're in trouble.
Yes, exactly.
A prism.
A prism. Yes, naughty rainbows. Instead of going to prison, they get a prism. Yes.
And okay. So basically I did so many battle raps to Houston that I decided to do silent battle raps. And the reason is because I thought he would like it because it's so annoying to listen to me try to battle to try to freestyle rap. And he did. He was like, "Oh, that's so funny. That's so great." He was loving it that day that I sent him like one without like
One without
actual
Sean
words.
saying anything.
Let's try to see, man. You want to do one of mine?
Yes.
Houston, you remind me of Bob Dylan. Cause every time the wind
Wait,
goes
no, hold
crazy-
on. That was a weird one because I was trying to be nice. Wait, let's do another one. Let's see. Oh, that was the okay, shoot. Random bad spot. Hold on. You bonkers, like Willy Wonka's little guys. They're called Oopa Loompas. They take a scoop of poopa, smear it in chocolate. You fake little shit. Yeah, random.
Just I like that the part at the end gets me. You fake little shit. Like it just got really mean at the end, and then you just stop. Like you're like being all funny, all like, yeah, you're like a Oompa Loompa, Willy Wonka, you dumb piece of shit.
So random. It's just the whole thing is random. Yeah, I think you know, I started doing it because rappers always brag about the fact that they freestyle. It's like, why does it matter? I mean,
You know,
at the end of the day, I have no idea if you freestyle or if you wrote it.
most of
just
the
gonna
time
look-
they write it and they
Yeah.
call it a freestyle. But if you ever watch like great rappers like really freestyle, they're not very good at it. Like actually
Right.
freestyle, it's
Yeah.
always pre-written.
Well, it reminds me of Kanye West and his Gold Digger song because at the end he's like, "Play that back." I'm like, "No, no, you're just saying play that back to make us think you freestyled. You did not freestyle that."
Of course not. Of course not. It's all lies and
And
conspiracies.
probably like 6 or 7 men writing out what he needs to say, you know?
Yeah, well, ghostwriters. Apparently Drake has a ghostwriters. Have you ever listened to a Drake song in your life?
No, no.
I don't. I've never listened to Drake, and there's something about his face that I just don't like. I just want to punch him. And I've never listened to any of his songs.
So
So
Drake needs to get punched. I don't, if I've heard one, I don't know it. I don't know if I've heard it. You know, if it's a famous hit, then maybe because it's
and
just
I
been on
listen. I listen to rap music, and I try to keep up with it. But as soon as he came out, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. I
yeah,
don't want
and
anything to do with it.
he shaped a lot of the music after him, which sucked.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, don't you guys realize he sucked? Your influence sucks. You know, if the influence sucks, it's hard because then, you know, a bunch of them come out.
And he didn't even write his own stuff. I heard that he was using ghostwriters. You know what I'm saying?
Even Post Malone kind of sucks. I mean, it
Yeah,
just does.
I don't understand. I don't understand the whole Post Malone thing. I've seen him on interviews, and he seems like a really nice, likable guy. But like
Right.
his music is just very generic to me. It's like I don't get why that's his music so popular. I don't
Yeah.
understand it at all.
I think yeah, like eventually all of our conversations are gonna evolve into a music conversation. But yeah, so that was our podcast on our families. Hopefully you learned something
We
about
sort of talked about our families. I think for
yeah,
3 seconds, but it doesn't. That's what the podcast is about. You know, we go on tangents.
yeah. I mean, you know, to the audience, stay cool, stay dry, stay loving, love the people you're with. Love the people. And to Houston, buy an NPC.
Yes,
And
I
to
will
your
have an NPC, but look, it looks like I'm petting the cat, doesn't it?
yeah, it does a little bit.
Anyway, yes. Actually, what we should do is when I get my NPC, we should make a podcast about it. And
Yeah,
it'll just
with
be,
it.
and I'll
We
have
need
it.
an it. We need an introduction too. You should get the introduction just from it. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, and that's
absolutely.
we have been talking for 35 minutes.
No, I'm not done. Okay.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Houston and Sean podcast was